Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And today we are getting into this Lego set 75411. This is the Darth Maul Mech. It has 143 pieces. Now, as what's going to be on the title of this is for the alternate build of this set. There's an alternate build where someone had built up the instructions and whatnot to turn this into a speeder. I'm going to put the link in the description below for that video. Because obviously I'm not taking credit for me being the one who came up with that. But that is the only reason why I actually purchased this. You can get it on Amazon. It's a pretty good price right now. Amazon is matching the sale price of Target. So that's how you know it's kind of at a pretty good low price. Right now it's like about $11 and some change. I wouldn't have had no interest in this form, but as a speeder form, it's kind of cool because then it feels like it's something that would be in universe for Star Wars in the speeder form. So I'm going to put that together. So we're going to return with that finished build. And yeah, so let's jump into that. First, we are going to unbox. And let's see, do I want to do this whole rip into this? We're going to try not to. So we'll go like this. There we go. Getting better and better opening these without ripping it to pieces. Let's see what we got here. We got these paper bags. They've been advertising that for a while. Finally, we're getting paper bags. This should not come with any stickers. What's interesting, you got a holder for the lightsaber, the big lightsaber there, and then you also have the little probe droid, so that's pretty cool. But like I said, we are not going to use this as a mech. So we've got 3 bags. We're gonna put this together and we will be right back. Okay, so we are back with the finished build here. And you could see here how it looks, this little speeder. I think it came out really nice. Just a quick look at Darth Maul because I'm still gonna review him for this set. You can see his decals on the front and whatnot. His printing, I'm sorry, having a brain fart. His printing on the front and his leg printing and his back printing. Very nice figure. Some people had an issue with the non-pupils. I'm not a stickler about all that stuff. As far as the speeder goes, it's nice. I think it looks really nice. I'm gonna put a clip in showing all the unused pieces, either before, like I'll probably put that right before we got to this point of the review. And so one thing I will say here is this part right here, it looks nice, but it's very, you know, if you've got like a 1x2 just to kind of make those solid, because right now they're kind of really just floating. So that's why you see that moving like that. And all it takes is something to lock them in, but you actually don't have any more pieces like that to lock it in unless you were to use something like this. As far as what comes with the set, you don't have just a regular, at least how the build was, no more leftover 1x2 bricks. So you can see here just the way it looks. You get the little guns in the front, the vents. The vents also could be held on a bit better. They're only just based on the like 2 studs at the bottom being held in. So it's nice. You have a lot of pieces that aren't being used. I think I'm going to take some of the rest of the extra pieces and just try to see if I could kind of fiddle around with this. But that was what I was looking to build with this, why I purchased it. And for the price, it's still a good deal because I paid about $11 some change for this set. So you get Darth Maul and then you get this nice little speeder build if you want to build a speeder. So yeah, you guys, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe. I will try to make some modifications on them if they're worth adding an additional, you know, or take a quick peek at it after the fact, another video on it, then I will do so. But if not, you guys seen this alternate build here. Like I said, that was my intention. As always, you guys like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, guys, we're back. I didn't know that I was going to end up making changes before I ended up putting out that the original video. So the first half of this was just me with the regular alternate build, and then I mentioned I was going to do some add-ons. So I ended up doing some add-ons. This is going to be just attached to that same video as you guys are watching it. So a couple of things I ended up doing is I just wanted to use some of these extra pieces. So I did use a couple of them. Some of them you just can't really use. There's only but so much you can add to the build, and I tried to see if I had enough to build something separate. It was what I was trying to do here, but I couldn't really come up with some. So, you know, I could have played around with it a little bit more. I did end up creating like a cannon with this thing right here, but I didn't like the vibe of it. This thing was put here with a second piece like that. I had put this on here. It's not going to balance as well with just the one piece, but I'll at least give you guys a bit of the idea of what I was going for with that. And it was something like this, where the person could get in it and then they put up the cannon. You would have one of these long beam parts on it, the lightsaber parts. But yeah, I didn't like it. It was just trying to do a side build, just to do a side build. I really didn't like it. So I played around with a couple of things that I put on here first. And then I started doing that, and I added some more things to this. So first thing I did was I took these grills off the front. The reason why I did is because this helps stabilize. If you can see here where that midpoint is, that mid break in the two reds, this helps stabilize that, which is actually really good. What I later added was a place to hold the lightsaber on the side of the speeder. But what's also great about it is you can see here, it connects these two pieces, strengthening that connection. So that's great. So this right here doesn't wobble around as much. It can a little bit if you put a lot of pressure, but it's not as many points for it to wobble. Like what I'm doing right now, previously in the video, you saw that it was just wobbling easy. Now it doesn't really do that as much because it has less points of, you know, free moving areas. I put this on here for the front because I was trying to figure out what I could put on here for the front that looked nice from these pieces. And this was probably the best thing, even though it does, you know, outside of those grills, it fits on better than the grills because it's not two separate pieces as one. But the only problem is that it doesn't fit completely flush. It works, but it's not flush, but it's not going to fall off. So that's fine because that height of that front piece doesn't align with the height of that. Like if that little gray piece there was a full plate high, this would be flush, but it's not. And then if you add something like, say, some studs to balance it out to increase the height, this will have a big gap in between there. So I didn't want to do that. So I left it like that. It's fine. This, I realized one thing I liked about the original build was this is the little sensor thing, the little probe droid. So I built that. Now it doesn't normally come with that gray piece on it, but I put that there so I could attach it to the speeder. So when he's driving, it's attached. And then if he needs to detach it, obviously you just detach it and then that will fly around as the little probe droid. So I like the idea of having that there. Now it doesn't fit flush as well as just like that front piece. You can see it's a little bit bent because of this disc, but it fits enough that you don't have to worry about, you know, it falling off. So I thought that was cool. One thing I added to it also, these little spike pieces here, I put it on this side and on the other side there. I also added these tubes because these things went to the fingers. Now there's 3 of them per side, per hand of the mech. So those 2 are already there. So I took these and I used them almost as exhaust vents, similar to like a chopper, you know what I mean? Like one of those kind of motorcycle choppers. So it's sort of giving it more of that kind of like, you know, metal, you know, kind of like badass look type vibe to it by having these spikes there and these. Now I had this spike here and a second spike there and I put that spike at the nose. I took this spike off so you can add it if you want. And I'll just show you what that looks like real quick. But then I also end up changing up to add something different. You can add that. It gives too much going on. Maybe it makes it a little too busy. I still would have kept it like that. But the reason why I changed it, let me remove this. When I remove that, then this piece kind of moves a little bit. That piece I was telling you. The reason why I changed it is because then I started having an idea of what can I do with these? Like this, I just want to do something with these. Now, what I ended up doing, attaching this piece here, it doesn't necessarily look great, but I like it in terms of its function. So instead I put that there. Now, granted, it's not going to allow him to see that well. Let's sit him down in it so we get a sense of how he is when he's there. There you go. So his eyesight is a little bit above, but not by much. You know, you got to kind of use your imagination a little bit. You can see right there. But the reason why is because I like the idea of this just being this really, you know, decked out speeder bike that's made to just kind of really destroy things. And little sidebars, little side note, you can find alternate builds for like speeder bikes for a lot of microfighters and a lot of the mechs and all that. So if you ever want to buy those kind of things and turn them all into speeder bikes, you can do that. There's a lot of alternate builds for all those type of small builds, just for the sake that, you know, it's something that fits a little bit more in universe. But anyway, so the idea I had with this is that why not utilize those pieces and make it just kind of really like crazy weapon. So he's driving normally like that. At a push of the button, if he wants to go full chaotic mode and he's like coming up to next to other speeders, he presses the button, the giant lightsaber lights up, and now he is just slicing through things as he drives side by side, destroying other speeders, cutting through trees. Like say if this was the scene in the original trilogy, the third one, when they're going through the forest, you could be slicing through trees or whatever the case is. So I thought it was kind of cool as this like over the top weapon. I know it doesn't look super cool, but it's just something about that seemed kind of cool to me, this over the top weapon on there. You don't have to have that if you do make this kind of build, but I thought it was kind of cool. He does have his little regular lightsaber on the side there too. And if you want, alternatively, you could do this. If you didn't want something that big, but you still wanted something in that same space, you could just put this there and then put his regular lightsaber on it, and it would do the same effect, just smaller. So you could do that. But I did like the idea of just utilizing these pieces, because otherwise there's nothing else I could use them for. You know, maybe you could use it as, take one of these out and just use that as a front facing cannon or something like that. But nonetheless, you know, like say if I got rid of that spike piece and this was facing forward, some kind of, I can't turn it all the way with the spike piece there, but you get what I'm saying. It'd be like a forward facing type of cannon thing. But nonetheless, I wouldn't have been able to use this piece. Now maybe down the line I could find it for something else, but as far as keeping everything within the same parts in the same build, there was really nothing else for me to use these things for. So that was the one reason why I kind of thought about that idea as that kind of backup piece for him to use when he wants to go crazy. So what do you guys think? Let me know, comment down below. As always, you guys like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.